So today's the 15th of November 2020 and I'm back in front of the St Thomas Pleasure Grounds in Exeter. This is one of my local parks, so I do quite a bit of study here. Going to do a very quick walk and talk like I've done before, just highlighting really as you can see, the huge change that autumn has brought to us. Again, the stunning maidenhair trees in front. There are two, one in front of the other, but they really stand out with their beautiful yellow leaves. So, like I say, with the park, I'll try to go around the whole park. I will have to sort of come back on myself because the park is almost like a figure of eight. So, what I refer to as the main entrance of the park is here, with the St Thomas Pleasure Ground plaque. And quickly spinning round, we'll sort of go from the front of the park and then back. So the two fantastic trees in front here, these are dawn redwoods. These are deciduous conifers, so that's quite unusual because most conifers are actually an evergreen. So this means that unlike this yew tree here, where it's an evergreen, this one's actually a deciduous conifer, which means it will actually shed its needle leaves. So this is quite unusual for a conifer. Fantastic trees. These are not native to the UK, and these are actually an endangered species, so we do need to look after them. Beautiful trees, and during this time of the year their leaves go from the typical green to, like I said, this lovely sort of orangey colour, and then they'll actually be shed onto the ground like most deciduous trees. So quite an unusual one, and also very interesting bark as well if you were to have a look at it. Very nice. So we've got our yew tree, evergreen, two dawn redwoods, and then sort of scoping around here, the small sort of several shrubs, almost like a coppice, is actually purple leaf plum, which does actually make edible fruit. Very pretty small white flowers. As I said, typically a small tree, but this is actually more like, if you can see here, two sort of large shrubs almost. Then we've got a lovely small hawthorn tree. Hawthorn's native, so nice species. Usually a shrub, but like I say, a nice small tree here. And then you've got a good amount of hedgerow here. There's quite a mixture here. A bit of hawthorn also in there. Common beech, which is great. This is a really nice one. Can't remember its scientific name, but known as a silk tassel bush. This is a male one. They come in male or female, but usually it's the male ones that are showy. They have these lovely long dangling catkins, hence why it gets its name. The lovely tree in front here, this is an Indian bean tree. Despite the name, they actually are from East America. Lovely trees. You can get a lot bigger than this. Again, this is a deciduous tree, so there's only a few leaves left, but about a month ago this would have been absolutely covered with very, very large leaves. I can probably, if I just have a look at this one here, what's left of it, you sort of get a picture of how big these leaves are. They're huge. So lovely tree, lovely big leaves, deciduous. This pine tree here, this is a Monterey pine. The only native pine to this country is a Scots pine. But like I say, lovely tree. Monterey pines, they are also an endangered species. They get a lot bigger than this. But like most pine trees, these are monoecious. So it means the male and female cones are on the same tree but different parts. You can see some of the really cool cones up here, hopefully, if I'm panning correctly. The cones sort of grow in clusters of 3 to 5 around the parts of the branch as it gets older. So we're actually going to go around this part of the park today. Nice holly tree here, red berries, so that'll be a female holly. I need to do some further research on these trees here. I believe they're a type of western red cedars, but I would need to do double check. This lovely tree in front here is an ash tree, a very special cultivar. This is actually a weeping ash, So technically wouldn't be classed as a native species because it's not actually it's a cultivar, but very similar to the common ash. I can't reach it, but you've got these lovely buds that are like coal. They're lovely. The leaves are virtually the same as common ash. Interesting, you can see nice bracket here. This was here a few years ago, but was actually removed, I assume by the parks team. Obviously fruiting season, it's obviously come back, so you can see all the spores here. I did spot another younger one, I think, up here as well. But yes, this is a weeping ash, lovely tree. Look at all that lovely gnarled, curled bark and trunk. It's beautiful. Just going back, sorry. So the lovely tree in the centre here, that's a blue atlas cedar. Atlas cedars are an endangered species also. You can see a bit of a trend here that the human race seem to unfortunately not look after their trees, but that's another story. So blue atlas cedar, lovely tree. Again, that lovely tree to the left, which is in this lovely mixture of deep yellow and green, that's a maidenhair. So there's actually two maidenhair trees here, as you can see. One and then two. So these two maidenhair trees, these are actually female trees because I've seen them drop the fruit for several years, and that's the case with maidenhairs. They're typically male or female, and you can see they've transformed the ground. Look, you just got this carpet of yellow. It's absolutely beautiful. This lovely tree here, which you can see only has a few leaves. Again, when you've got a day like this in late autumn and you've got trees gently fluttering with the few leaves they've got, this is just a piece of art in itself. This is the small leaf lime, a native tree species. Lovely tree, very good for the bees. Sometimes beekeepers will keep a lime tree or two nearby because it makes such good honey. So we've sort of summed up this part of the park now. I'm going to go round here, all the way around, and hopefully come back before it gets too dark. This small tree here, this is a sweet buckeye, sometimes known as the yellow buckeye. I've studied this quite a lot now. You might actually see some of the fruit, although I imagine the squirrels have eaten it all. The fruit looks a bit like a conker without the spikes. It is part of the same family as the conker tree, Acaleus, which is why they're very similar. But basically just it doesn't have all the spikes on it. So that's your sweet buckeye, or yellow buckeye sometimes people call it. A lovely type of birch tree. Again, a real nice mixture of shrubs here. Again, you've got another purple leaf plum. Not so sure about these. That's another type of hawthorn that's you can just about see here. That's fantastic. That's actually in the garden behind, but that's actually a type of cherry. Rowan tree, quite a young small one, very pretty. You might be able to see some of the berries. Rowan is a native tree species to the UK. Now this is a very unusual tree. This is a tulip tree. You can just about see some of the leaves still in the canopy. So this is a deciduous tree. It's not native to the UK. These trees get really big. This is actually in this relatively small, really. Still absolutely stunning tree. So I'll just move on to the rest of the park now. Oh, I've got a camera on, sorry. Sorry, I don't want to get you in the video, but I'm going to put it onto you. I'm just doing a walk around the park, just talking about the different tree species.
What are you doing that for?
Oh, I'll just put it on YouTube.
I don't understand it anyway. Did you get money for this?
No, it's just a hobby. I just put it out there for people to...
I haven't got a computer, I wouldn't know anything.
Yeah,
So,
but...
you want to climb up and then take yourself then?
Yeah, I might do that another time.
Yeah.
If I'm agile enough. Take care. So this is the tulip tree. which, as I said, non-native species, deciduous. As you can see, most of the leaves have gone at this time of the year. Again, this small tree is a lovely small ornamental cherry. I've seen it blossom for several years. It's absolutely stunning, this tree. Really is nice. So I think actually we're going to go this way now. So again, this lovely hedgerow here, this is a beech hedgerow. On the subject of beech, the tree right in front of me here, this quite small tree, this is a cultivar of beech. That is the cutleaf beech. Very unusual leaves, very deeply serrated, which is why it's known as the fernleaf or cutleaf beech. This is actually relatively new to the park. I haven't properly studied this type of pine yet. Some type of Japanese pine that I can gather, but I would need to do some proper study to be sure of this species. So yeah, we're going to sort of try to go all the way around. So I will come back to these trees in a minute. Sorry, this is a little bit random. I can't always plan it, as there's quite a lot of other people in the park, and I'm trying to avoid getting other people in the video. So I've got a lovely small holly tree here, and then I can just see these two small ones there are rowans, but again, deciduous trees at this time of the year, they've all but shed their leaves. Can see here a magnolia tree, these lovely fuzzy buds. Not sure exactly what type of magnolia, but it won't be long until that becomes into flower. You've got hazel. This is lovely. So a native shrub. Won't be long until this flowers. It's got lovely small pink reddish female flowers, and then you've got lovely dangly male catkins which are yellow. A type of Acer here, ornamental variety. This is an interesting one. So this is a Persian ironwood, quite a young one actually. They flower about February time. Lovely red flowers on the in little clusters here. Brilliant when they're in flower. Again, you've got another type of hawthorn, quite a big one. That's very nice. Nice holly tree here. So good specimen, that one. Got a nice birch tree here as well. We'd need to double check the variety, because the problem is there's so many hybrids it can be difficult to be sure. Norway maple, lovely tree. There's a lot of Norway maples in this park, and sycamores. Birch, and then look, we've got a birch bracket up here, so that's an absolute treat to see. That's lovely. So again, we've got another Norway maple here, and then this small tree here is another birch tree, and then the tree behind it is another Norway maple. So they've actually planted it maple, birch, maple, birch, maple, birch. So they've obviously had a bit of fun and logic when doing the original planting years ago. So the actual park, and again I'll try not to film because of obviously there's young people in that park. This lovely tree in front here is a type of lime tree. As far as I can tell, this is a small leafed lime, a very big specimen. The tree behind it is another lime tree, but that's a large leaf lime. And this is great because you can see they're both deciduous trees, but at this time of the year the large leaf lime will hold on to its leaves longer than a small leaf lime. There's also something really cool as well about this tree, other than you can see that it's shed nearly all of its leaves And then you can see there's these growths on the tree, but actually that's what we're looking for, mistletoe. So this tree, if you look closely, has 1, 2 mistletoe infections. Difficult to tell if it's male or female mistletoe, but there's definitely 2 up there. I didn't notice that last year. So again, mistletoe is evergreen. It's actually a parasite, so it's stealing sugars from this tree. Luckily, a tree this size with such a small infection, there's no issue here. Mistletoe tends to cling onto apple trees, and if the infection's big enough, if there's a lot of mistletoe, that's a problem for an apple tree. But anyway, small leaf lime with a couple of mistletoe infections. Large leaf lime, I'd need to double check what type of evergreen that is, if that's a type of cypress or western cedar. Now I'm not going to go too much into the park because there's young people there, but the back row of trees is a mixture of beech and hornbeam. There's also some silver birch in the park. Now these 2 large trees in front here, these are a type of western red cedar. The cultivar, I believe, is Zebrina. So what I'll do, I'll sort of go round now. So the trees here, these are sycamore trees, and I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 sycamore trees here. There's a youngish one to the right. These are different cultivars. The one sort of, if you can see straight in front, that has a really deep purple leaves, which are really pretty. So as I said, I can't go too into detail about the children's park. We've got the western red cedars here. Again, got another sycamore, so it's a bit wet underfoot. Collared dove, couple of herring gulls. So looking at the rest of the park now, got another lime tree here. That one is a small leafed lime, nowhere near as big as the other one. There's another small leaf lime, which is this small one here. There used to be 3, but because they got planted so close, the parks team had to actually remove the other 2, which was a sensible thing to do, because why you'd plant 3 trees within 3 feet of each other, not a sensible thing to do. So yeah, good decision made there, because it's now going to allow that tree to get to a good size without causing problems later on. So again, we've already confirmed this one here is a small leaf lime. This lovely sort of gnarled tree in front here, that's an American tree. That is a black locust, deciduous. As you can see, just about see some of the leaves on here. These 2 fantastic trees in front of me here, these are both tree of heaven, non-native species, and both of these are female trees, because you can see the fruit of the tree. Technically a type of Samara. Again, that's just how they have grouped the type of fruit. Papery winged seed, which gets dispersed by the wind. So you can see, look at that, it's lovely. You can clearly see all the fruit here. So this is a female tree. Hello. Alright, it's alright. This small tree here, this is a rowan tree, native tree, actually quite a good sized rowan tree. It's nice to see it get a good sized trunk on it. This is an ash tree, this small one in front here. It's the only ash tree, I stand corrected, sorry, no. The only small ash tree in this park. There is a large one. Again, ash trees are having a tough time at the moment with ash dieback. So we've got to really do everything we can to look after our ash trees. Just looking at this young ash tree, looks like it's a female ash tree. You can see there's quite a few keys left on there. These type of shrubs, I can't remember the scientific name. Red robin, I believe, is what its common name. Again, this lovely rowan tree. A few leaves left there. This one's an unusual one. This is a box elder. Box elder. Scientific name Acer nungundo, I remember. Not a native species, but it is a male tree, this one. So with this particular type of Acer, you can either have male or female. And in this instance, this one is a male tree. So if memory serves correctly, I think February, March time, I believe, is when the male flowers are prominent. But I'd need to double check. I haven't studied this tree for a while, but it is a box elder. This is a new addition to the park. Absolute treat to see. This is a foxglove tree. A really young one, but what's really important, they've put this cage around it, because the problem we have is we get these lovely new trees in and then they get vandalised, but luckily our parks team have put some protection around this one. So foxglove tree, not a native species, from memory, Chinese, lovely tree, lovely sort of purpley flowers. This is the fruit of the tree. So hopefully next year I'll be able to catch it when it's in flower. This is also a new addition. This small one, again, good. We've got another tree cage around it. We need them. This is a Japanese pagoda. The other one I've seen, which is a bigger specimen, is at the Exeter Cemetery. Lovely trees, lovely part of the Fabaceae, I think, if I remember. Is it P family? I'd have to double check, sorry, but it's very similar to that. But they don't flower for long, so you've really got to, you don't want to miss it. Type of cherry in front, and just looking at the branches and the twigs, I'm assuming, because there's absolutely no fruit, it's just a type of flowering cherry. It does look that way. I don't think this is a type of wild cherry, but again, you can, if you look here, the typical cherry type buds. Lovely tree, a very good sized specimen, but as I said, this one doesn't appear to have any viable fruit. This fantastic tree in front here, this is a hornbeam, so this is a native tree species, and I'll be honest, this is probably the biggest hornbeam tree that I've ever seen in Exeter. And you can see how densely packed the branches and twigs are, a little bit like an elm tree, but I mean, you can see it's probably great for kids to climb, very easy to get up to the sort of big branches. Like I say, brilliant tree, absolute treat to see a hornbeam this size. The tree just in front of me here, another black locust, and you can see some of the seed pods all hanging on there. Now, trying to just scope the rest here, you can hopefully see this small tree that I'm pointing at here. That is was planted, I believe, just over a year ago. That's a type of Atlas cedar, just like the one at the front of the park, but instead of having blue needles, this is just a dark green cultivar. The tree in front here, this is another Dawn redwood, so again, a endangered tree species, so don't forget the other two were at the front of the park, but they're slightly larger than this specimen here. But because it's in such a good spot where all the people play football and kids run around, it's got very smooth where everyone's been clambering up and down the trunk, and you can see it's sort of grown with that. the council or the tree team have had to remove some of the lower branches to try to stop people scrambling up. But I mean, otherwise, a tree is perfectly fine. It will be okay, and they get a lot taller than this anyway. But it's just having to work with all the different uses of the tree. So Dawn Redwood, interesting tree in front here. It's a type of rowan. There's two of these. There's one here and then one there. You can see hopefully these lovely white berries. It's very difficult to see now because I'm losing sunlight, but yeah, it's rowan, but this is not a native rowan. So there's different types of rowan. I believe it's a Hupay rowan. Anyway, it's not the typical native one to the UK, which has the red or orange berries. It is a non-native rowan that has these sort of lovely white, slightly pink tinged berries. As far as I'm aware, the birds, at least in this country, prefer the native species, the red and the orange berries. The white berries will probably be on this tree all the way through the winter. But that makes sense because it's not a native rowan, so the birds probably have a taste for the sort of standard native species with the red and the orange berries. So this tree in front here, this is, in my opinion, probably the most unusual tree, and it's quite a rare one. So this is a Pride of India. Doesn't come from India, as far as I'm aware. It's an Asian tree. Absolutely stunning when in flower. Has these lovely long dangling yellow flowers, which last for sort of 2 to 4 weeks. At this time of the year now, you can see these fantastic little papery bells, and inside each one there's between 2 to 4 black seeds. You can probably just about see some of those seeds here. I can't reach it, I'm not tall enough. But yeah, beautiful tree, Pride of India. And there's not many of these in Exeter, so this is really good to see. So this tree in front here, this is a common ash. You can tell straight away, looking at the branches and twigs, you can see all the ash keys along the top, which means this is a female tree. So this is the good sized ash tree I was talking about earlier. You might actually see some of the ash keys on the ground. Plenty of leaf litter here. Look, you can see these are what we call the ash keys, the samaras. But just imagine, there must be tens of thousands of these seeds on here, but probably not even 5% would actually be able to germinate because they'd be eaten or get damaged. But it's a numbers game, so when you've got to try to grow via seed, you will send out as many as you can. So that's our large common ash at St Thomas. These three absolutely stunning trees here are field maple, and this is really cool because field maple, native species, are only native maple. And here we go, this is what a maple leaf for us looks like. So that's field maple. Hopefully that'll focus. Usually field maple is often, hello cat, is seen as a shrub. So quite often we'll see large hedgerows with field maple in it. But when allowed, you can actually get field maple like here as large trees. And it's really nice to see field maples actually be allowed to grow as big trees, because we don't see that many. So yeah, lovely to see our field maples get this big, and you can see all the samaras on the end here. So again, these just like your typical like small helicopters, because the field maple has smaller ones. I don't think I can easily see any on the ground, they're all broken up, but you can see bits of them. So yeah, that's field maple. So now we're just going to go to the other side of the park talk about those trees. So now we're coming back on ourselves. So that's the type of pine that I need to double check. We've already talked about the magnolia, the holly, the rowans, type of snowberry there, if you can see, hopefully. Some sort of hydrangea, another rowan, type of laurel, another holly, and this fantastic tree in front here is another beech tree. Beautiful tree. If memory serves me right, it's a type of copper beech, this one. At this time of the year, it's harder to tell the difference between the standard beech and copper beech, but when it's in full leaf, it's easier. But these are your typical beech leaves, and look, the whole, floor ground is covered, and then all that will break down and get reabsorbed by the tree.